And we are live. My mic looks pretty good. First of all, hey KGM, thanks for joining us. I'll get to your question here in a minute, but just a little bit of a statement up front here. I have been battling COVID this week, so therefore you haven't seen too many videos from me. I've been keeping up with gatherings videos as well. I do want to make some and catch up. It's just the last couple of days I haven't. Hey Virus, thanks for dropping by. I just want to make the disclaimer that I'm still going through COVID, and if my voice starts to cut out, I might need to end the discussion early today. But there's a lot to cover, and I wanted to get in here and talk with everybody. So we'll go from that. Hey, Paul, thanks for dropping by. My voice is not exactly strong due to being ill. But as we know, we got a lot to talk about. I just haven't made a video in the last couple of days because I've been down. So, okay, well, this is a good thing to start off with. KGM asks, what happens to my grain farm on swamp when I have to move it to my lake property? Okay, so that's a good question, and I'll tell you this. I had to do that this week. I did a video where I've been coming along, and I've been making very subtle tweaks to my land, increasing cards, changing cards around. But I got to a situation where I have a large proportion extra of grain being produced in a region, and I wanted to switch around one land plot that was farming with one land plot that was mining SPS, because my farming one had a totem on it and it was gaining roughly 20% more. So I had enough of difference so I would change over the lands, right? So I went through 1 day period where I did this in both regions, where I basically took 2 lands in each region and I built new buildings on them. And what happens when you change your buildings is you lose, it takes a day. So basically in your situation, if you want to change a grain farm on a swamp to move it to your lake, whatever's on that lake, you would have to change that to a farm. And then whatever's on your swamp, you would have to change that to whatever you want it to be, right? And then you would lose a day worth of production. Okay, so there's 2 other caveats. Hey, Ike, thanks for dropping by. I'm trying to get better. It was an odd situation. Hey, Wibble's in the house. Thanks for dropping by. It was an odd situation. My wife went to get her COVID booster. 2 days later, she ended up sick. A day after that, I ended up sick. And after I was not feeling well, I stayed out and from work and worked from home. And then I'm like, well, we better just take one of the COVID tests. Sure enough, we both had it. So anyway, weird situation. So back on the land, there's 2 caveats I want to add in here on switching your buildings around. When you do switch, if you provided you already have a building built there, it'll take 24 hours to build a new building. Now you do have the option of buying time crystals, and I believe it was 50 time crystals to go ahead and complete that. I'm not sure if you still lose the 24 hours or if by using the 50 time crystals you automatically negate that and you don't lose any downtime. So if that's the case, then that's something to decide whatever you're going to be making off that. The second thing, I need to pull up a screenshot here. I saved a screenshot under pictures. Okay, here's a screenshot. Okay, so this is once your new building has been built on the land, then you will get this screenshot. So after that new building's built, you have to pay 500 grain to go ahead and get everybody up and running on the new one. So I hope that answers your question. Basically, you have to swap your two properties and either take the hit in time and production or pay 50 50 time crystals per land to get them automatically up and running. And also, if you do the time, I didn't do the time crystals on that. I just waited the 24 hours. Then you end up paying the 500 grain. I'm not sure if you pay the time crystals, if that negates the 500 grain. If so, then probably the better bet is to go with the time crystals because you're going to pay that anyway. I had excess grain. And it depends upon if you have excess grain. I had a stockpile of grain going on. So, hey, Gathering, thanks for dropping by. And once again, I will ask you to forgive my clearing the throat, and maybe I might sneeze, I don't know, due to my illness. But I wanted to go ahead and get up and running. And everybody just throw in the chat what you want to talk about. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about. The newest stuff. I have not been able to do videos on the secret of Praetoria. I do know Gathering has put out a few videos that I've watched. All good information, but due to my illness this week, I've not been able to cover it. So we can discuss that. The newest part of the paper dropped yesterday. And we can also discuss this as well. Let's see here. If I do not do anything when 2.0 kicks in, will they just wipe my hut because you cannot grow grain on a swamp? Okay, so I think that I don't have an answer for you on that. That's been discussed a few times with various people. I don't think there's any hardline answer as far as what's going to happen. I do know Gathering did a video or two and discussed how things are going to change, but I don't think there's any for sure answer right now yet on what's going to happen to those old buildings. Now, keep in mind, I have not fully dove in deep on the Secret of Praetoria Phase 2 white paper that have the second part came in yesterday. So if you're in the audience and you have an answer for KGM, please go ahead and put it in the chat. Lots to unpack with the resource info dropped. Excited for the next pool of buildings. So, I imagine since in this part of the white paper drop, they covered the resources, which once again Gathering did a video on yesterday. The next thing they will have to talk about is the buildings. In my way of thinking, thanks for the sentiments, KGM. I'm getting better. I'm getting there. In my way of thinking, we've built these I think they made the statement in one of the meetings that said that these weren't buildings. These were clearing, and I forget what other term they made. But in other words, what I want to say is we've invested in what we have on the plots now. I can't see them wiping them without giving us a retribution for that value because we've paid in to do this. So I don't know how that's going to go. I just can't see them just wiping it and starting clean. I can see maybe them building on top of that. Okay, you have this. Now you have to build the buildings. I do know that they stated that what we have there aren't actually buildings. So in other words, the grain farm, the mine for SPS and so forth, and the hut for research aren't actual buildings compared to what's going to be there. I think you'll be able to build a new building for free. You will have an option of several buildings that you can be built on the terrain type. You can pick one at little or no cost is my guess. I think the price of plains bog. Okay, so let's stop there and unpack that for a minute. First of all, I think there's going to be a cost. I hope that it's not extraordinary because all these costs are starting to build up, and I think a lot of people are noticing that, man, everything's just building up and building up. But there is going to be some sort of cost there, whether it's DEC, more staked DEC, or burnt DEC, or burnt SPS, who knows. But because the one thing I'll point out there is the building in the box attribute. Okay, so the building in the box attribute states that you can bypass the cost of building a building. So that indicates there's going to be a cost. Is it a large cost? Is it going to be a small cost? Who knows at this point, right? But there is going to be a cost of some sort. Okay, so the second statement is I think the price of plains, bogs, lakes, rivers will go up since most people want to be grain self-sufficient. Well, that's part of the beauty of the way the game is headed, right? So they've stated a number of times they wanted to make it so you can't really be, you can be self-sufficient, but you would have to buy a decent amount of plots of land. But you're not going to be able to grow grain, have places to store grain, as well as harvest wood and saw wood into lumber. You're not going to be able to do everything. Even the biggest guys are going to have a hard time doing that if they want to, just to be able to do everything involved. Now, you could say, well, and this has been talked about a number of times as well, specializing. So maybe you want to have some plots, enough plots to go ahead and harvest enough grain, and then just have some, I saw somebody on Discord chatting about this yesterday, sawmills and harvest wood. And then you just make planks, make lumber, right? Or another thing, whatever it may be, ore and iron bars or whatever it is, you could specialize and have enough grain to go ahead and keep that going. And then that's your part of the economy. Or the other idea, the other part of that is, or you could just be, your part of the economy is whatever you want to do, like harvest ore, make metal bars, harvest wood, make planks, and then you're selling a portion of that and then buying grain off of somebody else who just decided to be a farmer. That's his part in the game, right? So say for instance, I found a good deal on 10 plots of plains, right? And I just went, hey, I'm just going to be a farmer. Plains it is. And I'm just going to grow grain and produce that food and put it on the market. And then I can turn around and buy whatever I need to make whatever I want, right? So it's interesting how it's coming together. I'll leave it at that. So Ike says, what Matt's dropping is gold. Land on peak going up in price. I have not. I looked earlier. Sorry. Land has went up just on a basic point. And just looking at the cheapest commons here, and obviously it looks like to me that there are certain people that bought up maybe regions or whole areas, and then they're dumping the commons or trying to sell off the commons. So that should be interesting. But I do say that before Land 1.5 went live, these were all, the lowest you could find was about $10 cheaper. It was borderline, remember, $27 to $28, $29, and now they're up around $39. And this is just the cheapest. We're not talking about the prime areas, right? So I do agree. Thanks, GTM. I watched your video yesterday. Yeah, Gathering's putting out good, solid information out there. I like it. I don't agree with 100%, but that's what we're here to chat about, right? I think that the more opinions and viewpoints, because there's going to be multiple ways to look at this game, and the more we discuss it, the more of these different shows we have, and throwing comments in and likes and subscribes and all that. Because all of us could be thinking of it from a completely different standpoint, right? And you could be thinking of one thing and bring it up in the comment section or bring it up on a live stream like this and it talk about, and then that spur people who are on the live stream like, hey, that's a great idea. I never thought about it. So, that's where it comes in, having multiple people just talking about what you're, how you're approaching it. KGM says, Land has got me back into full-time with Splinterlands. I agree. I've looked at more Splinterlands this last week and a half than I have. I mean, I usually do, right? But I've been paying attention. I've been doing my daily harvest. I actually have my spreadsheet going where I actually put formulas in to keep everything adding and subscribing. I'm not doing it every day. The first couple of days I did, obviously, and I did my 1 week how everything's going, but I'm just gradually tweaking my lands. I've got 11 lands. I had a video watcher reach out to me and has a large portion of lands that he wanted to sell. We couldn't quite come to a meeting, but down the road, depending upon how everything goes, I might pick up some more. But at this point, I'm in the situation of just tweaking out the lands I have, kind of trying to make them more, get more out of my money, right? So. Okay, let's see here. Floor price for Magical was 85-ish, now 120, and interestingly, no castles listed on Peak. There were several a few weeks ago at high prices. Owners pulled them down. I think that was just a situation where people tried to put like these humongous prices on there just to see if they could snare themselves a whale, right? And then they didn't get it, and so they pulled them down, and they're probably working them now. That's my guess. And if you have a castle or keep, let me know in the comments how it's going, because I have obviously what you get off that castle and the keep is really, it really boils down to how many people within your area are your region are producing. So the more people that are staked out and producing, the more taxes you're getting, right? So let me know how it's going if you've got one. KGM says, I have 3 common swamps, hills, and lakes, so ore, wood, and grain will be my business. Sounds good to me. I still have to look at mine and pick out. I've got a fair amount of mine that will produce food, and I'm thinking ore because I have a mountain and a caldera, so we'll have to look at that. I do have some swamps which would produce wood as well from the list. So I don't know. I don't have enough plots where I'm going to be able to specialize in a lot of things. So maybe I'll do wood and ore. I don't know at this point, but more videos to come as I come up with ideas and figure out what I'm doing. I'll make a video on it. Strategies for land now have shifted to what your terrain types are. You may have had a plan, but now you have to change because yeah. We talked about this and I don't know. It's been a month or two ago. I did a video where I said that basically land 2.0 is going to be a completely different than land 1.5. And we understood that because Matt, none of this has been a secret, right? What this is what I've seen, in my opinion. Land 1.5 was getting the code base in place, okay, and proving that the code that they had in place land could produce something, produce X, because once they have that in place, then they could take that same code and multiply it out for all the different, items that materials you're going to be able to, and then also make sure the other code is stable and everything's working correctly on 3 basic materials before expanding it to the 30 different buildings and 50 different materials, right? Once that code is 1.5, rather, once the code is in place, which it is, and everything looks like it's running smoothly, obviously there are some issues here or there. People are reporting them through the proper channels, and the team is making changes as needed. We all expected this. This is, we are on the forefront of gaming, really. I'm kind of excited as an IT guy. I'm excited about that. We are, I don't say we, I'm not doing it, but we as a group are supporting the team that makes the game that is on the forefront of changing how games are done. Now, will that extrapolate and other games go forward like that? Who knows? But it's very exciting. And back to I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but my main point was land 1.5 was getting a base of code into place and proving that it works with 3 main deliverables, right? And then once that happens, 2.0, we already knew that leading up to that, we were going to get like this faucet of information. Now, I'm not holding my breath for 2.0. We saw how long 1.5 took to come out. It may 2.0 may be a year away. That's what I'm guessing. It may be less, who knows. But up to that point, I am happy that they are releasing information so that we have this information to go ahead and make our plans really early on, so you know where you're headed and not just wait until the last minute and drop it on us. So, yeah, went off on a tangent there. Joffrey Jones, welcome to the house. Thanks for dropping by. We are talking land right now. Yep, seen grain selling for so cheap on Trader Chat. Time to buy when they are giving it away. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a part of that channel, but I've seen them discuss it in Discord. If you are producing other things, grain is cheap right now. Now, leading up to 2.0, that brings up another topic. You're going to have to worry about storage. So what I'm really wondering, and I think some other people have asked this as well too, what's going to happen when 2.0 goes live? A big question I have is, so right now there's no limit on your land, right? And we've all played games where in some form or fashion they limited each plot of land or whatever to storage, which is X. And then you have to increase the level of that building, or you have to buy another building, something like that, to increase your storage. That kind of thing is built into a lot of different games, right? But what I'm wondering is, say I got this huge surplus of grain, which I will have when 2.0 comes alive. What happens to that surplus? Are they going to give some kind of little time period where I can go ahead and get my storage up and running on a plot of land or something like that? You know, who knows? It's all guessing at this point, but I hope there's a little time period and you don't just lose that grain, right? So, plus, KGM, you may be able to do resource storage if you want to get paid for storing other players' goods. Yeah, we've talked about that, and I just hit on that a little bit. That's kind of a successful thing that you could do if you just had one-off plots. If you bought a cheap plot over here, if you bought a cheap plot over here, it may be something that you can do. Just be storage, right? And then they did talk about it in the most recent town hall, and I was surprised. I made a statement on Gathering's video on the topic. Well, the topic was mixed into the video with other things, but I was surprised that I didn't see it on the list of buildings, right? Let's see here. This list of buildings, you can't see it too well, but you know the list I'm talking about. I didn't see the storage silo or whatever they're going to call it, right? So we'll see how that goes. But that is a valid consideration. In fact, at one time, I thought about just buying the cheapest plots I could find everywhere and just making silos, right? Let me catch up with chat. Hey, thanks everybody for coming by. Just a little addendum. If my voice is down or if I end up drinking water or coughing or anything, I am recovering from COVID. So, so there's that. But there's plenty of things to talk about. International Travel Channel is in the house. Thanks for dropping by. I appreciate your time. Gathering says now is the time to get massive amounts of grain if you can, if your plots can't produce grain going forward. Well, that was in the back of my head this week. I was like, well, does it make more sense to just switch over all my plots to SPS and research and then just buy the grain? But that goes completely against my original thought about being self-sufficient. Right now, I'm doing pretty good. I do have an excess of grain going on, and that's fine with me, but it's not a huge. And with the building swaps I talked about earlier, I've done some card changes. I've done some building swaps, which I made videos on. I'm at a pretty good level. But I do have a small surplus of grain going on each day, which is what I aimed for. I'd rather have a little bit of a surplus than have to buy the extra, right? But it is a valid consideration. You could go at this time and just do all SPS or research or something like that and then pay for grain, and you'd be making out, right? So because due to the cheapness. Now, will that stand? No. I mean, Who knows how long before 2.0 comes out? But like I said, if this goes along, 1.5, they're ironing out the bugs. Once that happens, they have the code base in place to go ahead and extrapolate that out to the 30 buildings and 50 different resources, right? So we'll see. I know I'm falling. I am falling behind in chat because of talking off on tangents. I love talking with people that are interested in Splinterlands. Let's see here. Ghostly BG's in the house. Thanks for dropping by, Ghostly. Appreciate your time. Where can you find out who your castle is in your region? You know what I do? There might be some other way you can do it, but what I do is I go in and I filter by land type, and I just go to Kingdom and then click on the castle, and then you can look here. So in this one, Jesterago owns the castle, and then you can click on Keeps, and you can also see who owns all the keeps as well. That's what I do. Probably a better way to do it, but that's how I've been doing it. Gathering says, epics were 99-ish and undervalued. Now only 5 under 300. Yeah, everything's going up. Let's go to, well, I think better. Let's look at epics here. Yeah, the cheapest epic here is $150, and that hasn't even been touched in almost a month. But I think that the cheaper stuff is being pulled off, or the people that have the cheaper stuff have been pulling them down and repricing them up a little bit. Joffrey says, just spent about 2K on Rebellion, though. Love it. Mantaroth and Arcane are insane. Okay, so I'm guilty of not jumping into Rebellion. I did buy 50 packs, which is nowhere near Joffrey did. Because, frankly, I'm in a mode where I'm focusing on land. And I can understand if you're focusing on play. I will say that I like what's been done with the cards. I will say that, let's see here, let's just go to the market. I like the unification. In other words, everything looks like it all goes together now. But I don't really like the fact that it's so homogenous. I like the fact I'm an old school Magic player. I like the fact that I could use the older cards. You could pick them up, or not pick them up, but look at them and tell the different art styles. These are kind of all homogenous. And I haven't dove in, haven't taken a deep dive. Obviously, they're going to revolutionize the in-play in the game. I'm just guilty of not jumping in just yet. I have not been on any of the tests. My focus has been on land. But I do like where it's going. It's going to take a little bit for me to get used to the new card layout. I understand why they did that. They're getting ready for mobile and making everything homogeneous, making it easier and preparing for what they want to do with the artwork and everything. I do like dual land. Multi-splinter summoners. I'm an old school Magic player which love dual lands, so I equate them with that. So I'm looking forward to get into that. And frankly, before I buy more packs, I will probably buy the dual splinter summoners for my deck. I saw somebody else, Vilson. I kind of skipped down, but Vilson had asked, do you play mostly gold? Yeah, I'm limited to gold in my primary and silver in my secondary accounts, mainly because I know that it's going to be a steep increase in what I'm going to have to throw into my cards to make that jump to diamond again. I used to play in diamond. Well, let me restate that. Archmage played me in Diamond, and we all know there's been this inflation and play inflation. And then I took the step back to gold when the whole staking SPS went live, and I'm fine with that. I'm just playing. It's just playing in gold. What I primarily play live per week is my brawls. I'm in a guild on both my accounts, and I like playing my brawls and getting the most out of my cards. However, I haven't made that jump to Diamond. I've been focused on land. Let's see. Let's go back up here. I have 14 plots, but I'm not putting $700 into it just yet. Seems like a lot. Vilson, hey, welcome. Let's see here. Now is the time to get massive amounts of grain. I jumped too far back. So Gathering says Splinter Cards has a land tab where you can look up plot owners by region. Shows who has castles and keeps. Love Splinter Cards. Yep, right up here. So you can go ahead and... I'm not going to do it now, but you can go right up here to the lands tab in Splinter Cards and look it up by player, region, market, rich list. A lot of great stuff on this website. And SPS is down a little bit. It peaked yesterday at some point. But we are at 30 cents, or 0.033 cents rather. DEC this morning is hovering at 0.99, so that's good. It's been between 9.5 and $1 the whole week, as far as I know. Thanks, and resource storage would make 4 things that I could do with my land. Yeah, we've talked about that before, so it's all good. In fact, I might have some of mine doing that as well. In fact, I think that everybody is going to have to think about that. Whatever your plan is, you're going to either have to pay storage from somebody or make storage yourself on one of your plots. It's just going to be part of the game, right? So. And once again, he did state that you will have to stake cards on your storage. The cards will, in some way, control how much you can store on it. So the better the cards, probably the more you can store, but probably also the more grain, how it typically works, right? So Gathering says, I need to combine my 1BCX gold foil epics on my plots to free up slots for more workers. I just hate the 3-day cooldown. Lesson learned. Yeah, I looked at that whenever I was flipping, switching some cards out. That's just something, it's... I know why they did it. It's to keep from people from abusing it. It's the same reason why they went and put the cooldown on the cards in the first place, to keep people from abusing the situation, using one card for multiple different accounts, right? So, but yeah, I'm in a situation where there's a couple of my plots of land where I have, most of my plots of land have maximum level gold foil commons, right? But there's a few that only have maximum level standard foil legendaries, which if I can find a good price on gold foil max level commons, then I will swap those out. However, just to give you a rough example, and I know there's a lot of things, everybody's concentrating on a different part of the card market, has a different situation, whatever they're thinking about putting on their land. But I, for one, can tell you for sure that gold foil commons, let's switch off of Rebellion here. Gold foil commons, yeah. Sorry. Let's go over to Peak Monsters. It's easier. So these are the ones that I mainly have on my land, the cheaper ones. But my main point is the fact that they have went up threefold since we started, since roughly 3 months ago. well, this is a neutral. I didn't buy any neutrals, but say for instance, this might sell like Morphoid. If you do a bulk buy on this, a max level is $17.50, right? These 3 months ago were going for roughly $5-6. So we've seen a threefold on these. And I can just state that because these are all basic examples of what are on my land right now. I can't believe that golden legendaries are still around $50. Yep. That's the base level, and that's the more common of them. And they go up steeply after that. I don't play with a lot of gold foils. The gold foils I have, like I said, were commons, and they're max level, and I bought them specifically for land. Does the castle keep all the taxes? I haven't researched castles extensively. Somebody with a castle would have to chime in on that. Do you bot any of them? From Vilson. My primary and secondary account are played by Archmage. So yes, I do use them. I've been using Archmage almost since it came out. Once again, I've said this before. I played for a nice long time, and then I kind of got frustrated by the amount of bots. And at that point in time, they had said multiple times in the different meetings and everything that there were always going to be bots. The team was very pro-bot, if you will. And so at that point in time, I'm like, if you can't beat them, join them. And I've been enjoying it. You know, I let the Archmage bot play my games. I play my brawls. If you play me in a brawl, you're playing me. I don't cheat or anything. If they pull bots out of wild, I'll be playing once again. One thing I don't do is I don't cheat. But I've been concentrating on the land game, so that's where I'm at right now. Shout out to Baron's Toolbox. Love the land feature where you can type in anyone's in-game name and it shows a nice layout of all their plots. Nice. I'll have to check it out. I did have the Baron's Toolbox add-on, and I was using it, and I did here a little while ago, I did have to do a reload of the OS on my computer, so I have not reinstalled it thus far, because in the troubleshooting I was doing at that point in time, one of the things I did was remove add-ons for my browsers just to see if it was causing the issue with Splinterlands. But I do agree. I like it. L4 is in the house. Thanks for dropping by. Howdy. Got a question on Land 2.0. Will current work sites be retained once Land 2.0 arrives? I think that's a question on many people's tongues. We talked about this a little bit earlier. There's no information on that yet. I think that, the one thing that I heard Matt say is that what we've built on land right now are not considered buildings. Okay. Now, the rest of it's speculation. I don't think with the amount of money we've had to put into clearing these lands and building whatever, they will have to change, but I don't see where they could just wipe them out and give us no credit or no value for those. In some way, it's going to have to change. So the basic answer is, unless somebody else has heard more than I have, there's not an answer to that question yet. A lot of people are theorizing, though. So. Another question, will SPS still be able to harvest once Land 2.0? Probably not. Matt has stated several times, and multiple people have stated that they're looking to remove SPS mining from availability once 2.0 comes out. However, it's also been stated that it'll probably have to go up for a DAO vote. Okay, so I don't think it's something that they can just remove, but he's stated multiple times that he does look forward to removing it. He says that the reason is there's so many other things that land will be used for that it won't be needed at that point. And of course, removing it will help the price of SPS, right? The question I have is the lands that are specifically getting 100% bonus for mined SPS, people have paid really good money for those. What happens to that? All of a sudden, do those lands, are they worth nothing? I mean, they're worth a regular land, but they're not worth that premium that people paid for that SPS mining? I don't know either. It's just a question in my mind. Alex B. I'm waiting on one card to get off cooldown so I can put it on my land. Then I should be good with grain. Took 2 pots to pay for my magic land. Yeah, I had to kind of play that game too. And I think we all knew that it would take some adjustments to get to kind of a median level where you wanted to be. That's why in my in one region, I have an epic plot. And I also have a rare plot. And the rare is magical. And I knew going in that I would have to account for, let's see here. I would have to account for that. So my research is at 120% boost. So I went ahead and just right off the bat knew I was going to have to make that. It was very tempting to make that epic into SPS mining, but I knew I had to make it into grain so that I could account for the other plots. And it's working well. As you can see, I'm producing about 537 grain per hour in this region, and I am only consuming 425. So after the swap in land plots this week, my margin is a little bit closer, but it's still in the plus column. So I think everybody's playing that game, switching things around to kind of get the best they can. Gathering says, it doesn't look like you will be able to harvest SPS. Didn't see any buildings that gave you SPS. Nothing for sure until 2.0 comes out. Yeah, we just talked about that. Alex B says, I've been selling my gold chaos cards. Well, they've certainly been going up in price. And if you're trying to make a little bit of money and there are extra cards that you don't use or you don't have a specific use for at this point in time, you don't play with, why not pick up a little bit of profit and maybe move that to something else? It's the continual game within Splinterlands. One of the fun things is that you can get out of one investment, quote unquote, and move into another one. So, excuse me, I've been kind of on that mindset. I've been funneling some tokens out of different other games on the Hive blockchain into SPS for specific use on land as well. So, kind of along that mindset. It's been getting harder. It's getting harder every day on the SPS mining. Probably going to swap out most to grain as I want to stockpile that. Yes, as more plots come online, you are more plots that are dedicated to SPS mining. Your piece of the SPS pie gets smaller. We all knew that was going to happen. And as time goes along, even if, say, for instance, it didn't end in 2.0, it would still continue to get smaller and smaller. Obviously, at a certain point, there would be this median line. But at a certain point, you got to say, well, is it worth it? I need to switch things around. That's part of the land game, though, right? So no modern. Back to Vilson. Correct. I am not currently playing in modern. You will not see my accounts playing in modern. Will that change? Who knows? I reserve the right to change my mind. But currently I think everything's going well. But if they change things up, okay, so say for instance they removed bots. There was a vote and they removed bots from Wild as well. I would probably go back to playing modern because my deck, my cards are probably stronger in modern. So in that instance, you would probably see me back in modern. So, but I'm kind of rusty. I don't do too bad in brawls. Of course, brawls are wild. But I'm kind of hit and miss. Like 50-50 some weeks. I had a really good week last week playing in gold brawls where I think I lost 2 and won 6 or something like that. It was a good ratio. So. Ghostly says, I don't like how the new conflict staking for airdrops discriminates regular foils. A quick story. I opened 1,303 packs and got a total of 267,000 collection power. However, I had to sell all gold foils to level my regular foils. So my collection power dropped to 180,000 after using all the DEC I got for gold foils to buy regular foils. If you just stake 1,303, you get 195,000 collection power. Moral of the story, regular foil staking is the worst approach. Well, thanks. That is a huge investment. Thanks for pointing that out. I do appreciate that. That's a lot more packs than I have. But it's a question on everybody's mind. What is the best approach to staking? And for a small guy, from what I've been wondering is it even worth it for a small guy like me to stake 50 packs? Probably not. But we'll see. I mean, if it ends up not being worth it, as far as, say I stake it out and I have like a 1% chance to get an airdrop, right? I'll probably just open the packs. Who knows? Occupied are for harvesting essences. Not sure if you will get SPS as well. Time will tell. Okay, so one of the main takeaways there is that the occupied lands, which now give you 100% bonus to SPS mining, in 2.0 will be harvesting essences. Okay, this once again shows Gathering did a video in depth on this chart a few days ago, so go back and reference that. Excuse me. But that's interesting. That's a good piece of information. I'll have to get in. But the way I figured is, I'm trying to get better and everything. We'll have plenty of time to talk about this. But that's good information as far as where essences fit in. That's where I need to know. Okay, let's go back. Catch up with the chat. Are the battle wagons up? No. Yeah, Ghostly says it's on Tuesday, the 18th, I believe. Nope, 12th. So we will be able to stake out our battle wagons on Tuesday the 12th after the patch period. Red new drop from Matt. Occupied land can only do certain things. Yeah, I'll have to get into that, but it'll be interesting to see how this all shapes up. It's all very complicated, and we knew this was going to get there, but it kind of has to be a little bit complicated and in-depth to accomplish what they wanted to, right? So that one person couldn't just come in and just like rule the game, right? So, I mean, I suppose you could if you owned a region, but it would take a large investment to do that. So what happens if your castle in your area is not used? That's a good question, KGM. There's been some talk about that, and as far as right now goes, I don't know if there's any detriment, but in 2.0 there are supposed to be some pluses that basically make it worth your taxes. Basically, the castle's going to be able to come back and do certain things that elevate everybody in that region. Now, I don't have any specifics on it. I'm sure it's probably might be in the white paper. But if anybody in the has a castle in the chat, go ahead and chime in. I do know in 2.0 that basically the castles need to be active to do certain things for the people that fall under that castle in that region. And this may be in the way of leveling up buildings to increase percentages on certain things. I'm sure we've all seen this in other games. There's a lot of things that are possible. So say, for instance, just throwing out ideas because they were kind of referencing this type of thing. Say, for instance, the castle in your area builds a specialized lumber mill or something that specializes a sawmill, right? Maybe if you have a sawmill in your area, then maybe your takeaway increases by 5%, something like that. I'm not sure on any specifics, but I'll have to look into that and get back to you on that. Maybe I'll throw that into a future video. Good question though. Been tempted to sell all my cards for SPS in the past. Yeah, I mean, I've thought about that. I've really thought about selling a bunch of cards and just putting it into land stuff, buying extra plots, staking that out, and just kind of pulling back. As we all know, the reason why I'm not playing both sides of the game right now is because the amount of money I've had to put in land. I've said this story before. At the kind of transition period a few months ago, my brother made the opposite decision, right? He decided instead of putting money into land, he was going to go and play and do the best he could in Modern. So he put a lot of money into increasing the level of his Modern play deck. Because if you're going to play, you have to pretty much have max level cards to do very well, right? Yeah, you can get by if you have good strategy and everything with under level cards somewhat. But most of the time, you need max level cards, and that's pretty expensive. So I just made the choice to go the other way. Neither one of them's better or worse. It's just he liked playing in Modern there for a while. He kind of got frustrated after a while. I don't know. I think he's going back to Archmage and Wild currently, but he enjoyed it for quite a while. And if you can win, the winnings, the takeaways are pretty good compared to Wild. So. Vilson goes on to say, but I enjoy the game a lot. Yeah, I like it too. I just, I'm headed towards land, or I am on land. Alex B says, got over 2K research so far today. Hope it's going to be worth it. I do too. I don't have that much, but well, I mean, I can just look at my harvest sheet. As of last night, I have 1,200 research total. So let's see here. I switched off the page. Let's see here. By the way, something random. What do you use to stream? Well, I use OBS Studio. I use a blue microphone. And the camera I have, I forget the name of it, but it's a nice 4K webcam. I did have a setup with a smaller camera, like a nice camera, but it was too fiddly. Whenever I do my videos, I just want to turn it on and have the webcam ready to go, and this has turned out really well. So. Are you in other crypto projects, not only games? I mean, in general. I've been in a lot of stuff over the years. I was a miner. I got into crypto several years ago when mining was big because, first of all, I'm a tech guy. I love building computers. Give me any excuse to build a new computer, right? But I had mining rigs set up in my basement, and that led me into, and that was before the advent of crypto games. And I mined a lot of different things. And that led me into the crypto games when they started coming around. And yes, I play several different crypto games. I play Splinterlands. I play Golem Overlord, TerraCore, Splinterforge. On a different blockchain, I also play Rising Star. So I play several different things. I got a lot of different things going on. You have 712. It's on the top right. Yeah. Well, that's just in this region. If we go over here, I have 502. So when you total them up, I have about 1,200 something or other. So, well, if anybody has anything to finish off the show on, we're coming towards the top of the hour. Got any totem shards? No. I've been looking forward to trying to get a totem shard so I could get a screenshot of it. I've seen some screenshots from other people in Discord. but I have not gotten one. My percentage chance, I've been claiming once a day, every 24 hours, and my percentage chance for my production power is still very low. It's like 0.2% or something like that. I had figured it out on one of the videos, but it's so very low. I'm not even expecting one. If I do get one, it'll just be a pleasant surprise. On that note, I did see that the cost of totems have also gone. I think the cost of everything's going up, right? So, well, actually, this has dipped a little bit by about $1, but you can't get a common totem for under $26.80 now. You know, whenever I was buying them, they were between $10 and $15, $16. I was very tempted to buy one more for my other plot of land that I had bought last week, but they're going up. Looks like there are still. Looks like no common plots are left. Or there's one land plot claim at $87. You can buy a land plot claim. I don't even know what's left. Where are we at? Let's see. Next available plot, 138, Shadow Vale. So look at this. Look at all this we have that still is not opened up yet. So the next available plot is here in 138. And look at this. All this is for sale. Sorry, getting off on a tangent. And it looks like Diddy did it. 99 is selling off all these. But that's going to be an interesting discussion on, you know, this whole region right here. Or, sorry, this whole area. This whole lower part. There's nobody in it yet. Hasn't even been opened up yet. So what happens to that? New hero system launching Monday on Splinterforge. Yeah, I saw the note on that. I haven't dug into it yet. They are looking for content creators to promote it. Yeah, yeah, I think it comes down to time. You know, I've had a few different games contact me to, you know, they're looking for a little bit of PR and everything, and I'm fine. I like looking at new things. Like, I just have only so much time, and I've been really into Golem Overlord lately as well. As you know, we did make advance our guild bunker level last week, so that's a nice thing. And I'm working through the Golemancer's Gauntlet. Currently, I'm on stage 12 of 17. So that's where we stand there. We do have one slot open in our guild, Knights of the Rose Templar, if anybody wants a slot and they're active. Yeah, so we're at 3% claim rate, plus 3%, so that's doing well. I like this new series of quests he has going on in Golem Overlord. He's given out some nice prizes, you know, and it gives a clear stepping stone. Clear stepping stones to people that are new to the game to step through the game and advance, right? So I think all games are made better by a new player experience like that, which is what Splinterlands needs. Yep, I need one more. Magical or occupied if you had the choice. At this point in time, I would probably say magical. And the reason is because at this point in time, it looks like SPS mining is going away in 2.0. And there's been a lot of talk, and Matt has really jumped in there and said that getting your magic research in is going to be really important. Now, also, just referencing... once again, referencing this, and I'm guilty of not having done a video on it yet, but Gathering has done a really good video on it. He goes through, and basically the takeaway here is that when we go into 2.0, magical research is not going to be free. Okay. In other words, now you can go ahead and stake out your land and do magic research. In 2.0, you're going to need an extra token. You're going to need trifoil ruins. to do something with your research. So all that is still remains to be seen, but my takeaway here is I'm going to get my research while I can, and I do have 2 magic plots that I will keep using, but it will there will just be an added incremental cost to going ahead and producing what they produce, which is the truth with everything. It's all set up that way, right? So because you rely upon somebody else to do this, and it takes a community effort, basically. Like, for instance, hey, I'm running a sawmill, I make planks, I'm going to buy my wood off of you, or something like that. Maybe you have a bunch of forests, you're producing wood, you sell your wood to me, I make planks, I sell it to the next guy, he makes houses, whatever that is, it produces a whole economy. So, and yeah, it's going to take a while for everybody to fit in, settle in and figure out where they feel comfortable. And there will be some people. I fall into the bucket of wanting to find a situation where I'm comfortable, and that's where I sit. There will be some people that change around oftentimes because they're trying to make the best out of the economy as it changes. That's the other thing. The economy will change and things will fluctuate, and people, you'll have to figure out whether you want to absorb the cost to change things around. Say, for instance, lumber isn't selling. You want to switch over to ore? Well, that's a huge cost to buy new land and outfit it and everything like that. So Ghostly says, yeah, the quests in Golem Overlord have been great. They provide some nice stuff. Lawrence Blake in the house. Thanks for dropping by. New name. I always appreciate seeing new people. And I'll take a minute since we're at the bottom of the hour. Please go ahead and leave a like. And if you like this kind of content, please subscribe. I'm trying to keep it going. Like I said, this last week I've been a little bit deficient because of my cold going on, but we'll keep everything going, especially in the land content. No, I'm not going to do any challenges right now. I think, Alex, you beat me a couple of times last week. Not that I'm against that, but we're at the bottom of the hour now, so maybe next week. Lawrence says, I do regret selling my occupied common. I think there's a certain argument that could be said for buying an occupied right now, staking it out to the max, and getting as much SPS out of it as you possibly can, but have a plan if that turns into, going back to what Gathering said, that they will produce essences. If you don't necessarily want to be in that business in 2.0, maybe selling that land off right before 2.0 comes out, or you just transition from being in the SPS business to being in the essence business. I'm sure they'll be needed as well. So, but more to come on that because I haven't read anything on that. I'm just going by what he said. So you need wood to do all refining. So you need grain to feed your workers plus wood for fuel. Wood will be resource right behind grain. Yeah, I mean, I hate to say this, logic says that because it's a game. A lot of this stuff isn't logical, right? But in real life, you need wood to make most things, right? So with that, I'm going to go ahead, and it's at the bottom of the hour. So I do appreciate everybody's time. It's been a good conversation. We've had a few takeaways here, so I appreciate everybody stopping by. Please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you on the flip side.